This is the week sent from hell. I mean, the injuries that we are looking at across the league could not be crazier. I mean, if you're looking at this, no Justin Jefferson, no Khalil Herbert, no Roschon Johnson, no Travis Homer, no Devon Achane, no Miles Sanders, no Zay Jones, no Deshaun Watson, no Jahmyr Gibbs, no Bam Knight, no Daniel Jones, no Demario Douglas, no Juju Smith-Schuster, no Treylon Burks, no Juwan Johnson. Jeff Wilson Jr. is probably not playing here. T. Higgins still questionable. Tank Dell questionable. Robert Woods questionable. Elijah Mitchell, David Njoku, Sam Laporta, Saquon Barkley, Darren Waller, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and Tyquan Thornton are all questionable this week. It's going to be tough to submit starting lineups this weekend. It is going to be tough to be able to overcome this, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to try to do our best here. I'm going to try to see if we can navigate and figure out what we should be doing with starting lineups. The good thing is this isn't week 7. What's going to be crazy is when week 7 comes around, not only are we going to be dealing with crazy injuries, but at the same time, you are going to have an insane amount of teams on bye as well. So at least we dodged that. But yeah, of course, as we pull this up, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I mean, we have live streamed every single day since April for 168 days in a row. And we're not going to miss a single day until 2024. So hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy for this week, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, they're going to hook you up with a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Sunday's game. And since it was our birthday this week, Underdog also hooked y'all up with an additional Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Monday night. You're going to get both of those. Underdog never hooks it up like that, but it was our birthday, so I'm so happy we were able to get y'all that. Please make sure you're taking advantage. We'll cover this a little bit more in a video tomorrow, but just to show you some of my favorite pick'ems for the time being, I'm going to show you one in particular. I want to look at this one, and it goes to Robert Woods, possibly not playing. I will also say I think Jonathan Taylor will have 45 rushing yards this week. I'll say that as well. But going over to the Houston Texans, you maybe have no Tank Dell, and you maybe have no Robert Woods. So I'm expecting a bounce back from Nico Collins. And if you look at Nico Collins in his touchdown here, you are going to get a 2x multiplier if you include Nico Collins to score a touchdown. So I actually like including Nico Collins in our pick'em slips this week, and specifically his touchdown to get the 2x. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and let's pull up these questions. We're going to be pulling them up on that separate page. So we just got to find out where we're starting from. And yeah. Okay, so I believe we are going to be first starting off with Sawyer says, Gabe Davis and Logan Thomas for Zay Flowers. Would this be a good price to get Flowers? I think it would. I mean, obviously, if you have another tight end, that's fine. But Logan Thomas, someone you're getting off waivers. Jacob says, trade Waddle, Kyron for Jacobs and Amari. Going from Kyron to Jacobs, give me Jacobs. Waddle to Amari, give me Amari. I think it's a fair deal. We have JT Sanders, Kyron, Chase, Waddle, Zay, Addison, Sutton. Yeah, very fair deal. Up to you, my friend. Isaiah says, with that said, DJ Moore or Breece Hall in the flex. I understand not wanting to go ahead and play that Philly defense. Probably will go and play Breece Hall, though. Now, Jacob says, 10-team BBR double flex. We have Burrow, Watson, Saquon, Etienne, Mixon, Gibbs, Diggs, A.J. Brown, Jefferson, Lockett, Deontay Kelsey. Any traits? Really strong team here. I mean, I can understand that this team's probably struggled up until this point because we had the Burrow injury. We had the Saquon Barkley injury. Now we have the Justin Jefferson injury. So really, for this team, I understand that maybe we're put in a little bit of a difficult spot for the time being. I think in the long term, though, this team is set up well. We just have to get these guys back and playing. Isaiah says, pick 3, Brees, JT, Deonta Foreman, Jeff Wilson Jr., KJ Osborne. We need 2 running backs and a flex. We're going to be going with Deonta Foreman, Brees Hall, and Jonathan Taylor. Bench Jeff Wilson Jr. and bench KJ Osborne here. Owned by CIA says 5-0 and Ramondre on the bench. Traded Lamb for Jefferson. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, Jericho coming out says 12-team at BBR. We have 5 RBs, Walker, Montgomery, Madison, Kamara, Ford. 4 receivers, Myers, Smith, Wilson, Sutton. Someone wants Kyron Williams, or Kenneth Walker, I apologize. Garrett Wilson for Keenan Allen and Ramondre Stevenson. Keenan Allen to Garrett Wilson is a massive downgrade. Stevenson compared to Walker, give me Walker by a mile. I mean, I think because both Keenan and Walker have already gone through their bye weeks, I mean, this is a little bit more of an interesting trade. Obviously, if you needed a wide receiver, I understand going for it. Mitch says, doing my first fantasy podcast in an hour. First live radio show was a couple weeks ago. Any talking points you'd recommend? Feel good, but figured I'd ask the mother flocker of all mother flockers, you demand Mason. Really appreciate you, my man, and super happy for you. I remember the first time I went through and put something out on YouTube, and it was awesome. Like I maybe had like one person watch it. It was my mom, but it still felt like the best thing that I'd ever done. And yeah, I'd say just have a lot of fun. I mean, you can go through, talk about the injuries. I mean, if you really want a talking point, you could look at the debacle of the New York Giants and talk about if there's any fantasy value that is left over there. Now, Brandon says 18 PBR 2 and 3. Starts at suggestions for week 6. Cousins, Henry, Kyron, Tyreek, AJ Brown, Ingram, Montgomery. And then on the bench, we have Goff, Cook, Hall, Judy, Lockett, Schultz. So if you were to want to change anything around, you would probably get Brees Hall into the starting lineup. I mean, if you wanted to go through and play Brees Hall over Derrick Henry, I would not fault you for that in a full PPR league. Obviously, Hall does have a tough matchup, so it really is up to you there. And I'd say one other side note, if you wanted to start Jared Goff over Kirk Cousins, considering the injury that we have to Justin Jefferson, I wouldn't fault you at all for that. And then I believe this is a different team here, where we're starting Cousins, Kyron, Kamara, Chase, Diggs, Waller, James Cook. And then on the bench, we have Olave, Stevenson, Madison, Lawrence, Higbee, Flowers, and Nico Collins. So here, if you wanted to get someone into your starting lineup, I think you could go ahead and maybe swap Lawrence and Cousins if you're worried about Kirk with no Jefferson. Obviously, it is a good matchup, though, so you don't have to do it. And then outside of that, really don't have anything other than let's make sure we continue to monitor what we have with Darren Waller's availability. You may be forced to swap over to Tyler Higbee. Now, Moonwalkin says 5-0. I'm sorry, Tanner says 5-0. We have Josh Allen, Eckler, ETN, Devontae Adams, Keenan, Mostert, Waller, White, DJ Moore, JSN, Kirk, Akers, Dell, Ferguson, Deontay. Feeling good? Any ideas? I think you're looking good here, my man. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of depth. If this is a format where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, I would say we have so much depth with this roster that we could go ahead and see if we can package someone like Tank Dell and DJ Moore to go get to like a CeeDee Lamb level wide receiver. I think that would make a lot of sense where we are loaded up here. I mean, 5-0 also you could potentially see if you wanted to sell like DJ Moore and go get Justin Jefferson for the long term. Moonwalking says 5-0, 12 team, non-PPR, no forced tight end, bonuses for long touchdowns. We have Allen, CMC, Swift, Godwin, Amon-Ra, Chase, Ayuk, Amari, JT, etc. Any thoughts? And should we trade Amon-Ra and Jonathan Taylor for Tyreek Hill? So obviously, if you're going to be looking at a league where we're getting the bump for long touchdowns, Tyreek Hill is that much more appealing. At running back, we're solid as of now. I'd be fine if you wanted to make this deal. In reality, I personally probably hold on to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jonathan Taylor at least through the bye weeks, because I do think that JT continues to expand his role, and I think that JT is someone that we can rely upon. But it's a phenomenal team setup. I mean, 5-0 roster where we have JT on it, so it's only going to get better. I think you're in a great position. Logan says 14 team Superflex, PBR 2 and 3. We have Geno, Hurts, Pollard, Raheem, Sanders, Roshan, Amon-Ra, Lockett, Deontay, Michael Thomas, Sky. We don't have a tight end position. Any thoughts? Should we trade MT Pollard for Eckler? Okay, so with this being a 14-team league, depth's going to matter a little bit more. You're saying you might lose this week. If we fall to 2-4, then obviously we'd be in a very, very difficult position. I mean, when we're starting Geno and Hurts, we already have Geno through his bye, so that's definitely going to be a little bit helpful. I mean, our RB2 situation's not great. I mean, we're looking at injured players such as Miles Sanders, Roschon Johnson. Actually, no, Raheem Mostert's crushing. Ignore me. I'm an idiot. For whatever reason, I was looking at like Miles Sanders as our RB2. No, we'd make that trade for Eckler, and then we'd have Eckler and Raheem Mostert would be crushed in competition. I think that this is a deal that you could potentially look to make. I just don't necessarily know if you want to do it this week, because if you look at the injuries that we have through this team in a 14-team league where depth will be harder to come by, I think we probably have to wait until we get our guys back and healthy. Mason says traded Kelsey, Amari for Laporta, Brees, and Debo. What are your thoughts? I think Amari to Debo, give me Debo in the short term. Long term, they're about the same. Kelsey versus Laporta and Brees, give me Kelsey. Also, who should I trade for a better receiver? We have Watson, Flowers, Hopkins, Collins, Mostert to trade. I mean, if you wanted to turn around and if you wanted to see if we could sell like Brees and Flowers, two players that are very exciting, two players that people really want, and go get a round one receiver like Tyreek, Diggs, or maybe even Devontae Adams, we could look to do that, or obviously Chase. But I am interested to know what people have to say here. Can y'all please let me know? Just say Kelsey or Laporta in the live chat. I'm really interested in your opinion. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Travis Kelce and Amari Cooper, or Sam Laporta, Brees Hall, and Debo Samuel? Kelsey and Amari, or Laporta, Brees, and Debo Samuel. Kelsey. Laporta does look like he will be playing. I believe he's still questionable, but he should play. Kelsey, Laporta. Yeah, it looks like most people said Kelsey here. And I honestly agree with that. I mean, I thought that maybe we were a little bit stuck in our ways, but I don't know. Miles says 5-0, 12-team PBR trade. DK Myers, Jason Hawkinson for AJ Brown, Waddle, Komet. So Hawkinson to Waddle, give me Hawkinson. DK Myers, Jason to AJ Brown, give me AJ Brown. We're getting Komet. Also Tutu for Foreman. I would rather have Deonta Foreman over Tutu. I'm not starting Tutu ever with a healthy Cup and with a healthy Puka. 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I'm fine going out there and getting the best player in AJ Brown. Just personally, I'm very much wanting to hold on to TJ Hawkinson if we can, especially with the Jefferson injury. Now, Brian says, what's up, Mason? 12-team double flex, full BBR. We have Lamar, Pacheco, Dameon Pierce, Gibbs, Spears, Roschon, Adams, Keenan, Flowers, Judy, Jameson, Downs, Hawkinson, and Goff. Any moves? So this is going to be just a slight note. I mean, obviously running back is not our strong suit. We're great at tight end. We're great at quarterback. We're great at receiver. The only thing that I would say is if you're in a position where we have Lamar Jackson and Jared Goff at quarterback, if possible, I know it's not going to be possible in every scenario, but we can go ahead and we can try it. If we could go through and send maybe like Jared Goff and a running back like Dameon Pierce to go get an upgrade at the running back position, I think that'd make a lot of sense if we're going to start Lamar Jackson every single week. And we could go through and we could look at maybe the team that just lost Anthony Richardson, maybe the team that just lost Deshaun Watson, right? I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, Devin says 12-team PBR, 4-1 in first. We have Lamar, Bijan, Mostert, Puka, Wilson, Andrews, Montgomery. And then on the bench, Cook, Watson, JSN, Stroud, Jefferson Jr. We're going to trade with the Tyreek manager. He declined Mostert, Garrett Wilson. What offer should we go Puka and Cook? I mean, if we could go out there and get Tyreek Hill, 12-team league where we're 4-1 and in first place right now, I would sell Puka and Cook in a heartbeat, especially with how that usage is trending. I mean, I may rather sell them than Mostert and Garrett Wilson. So I would go ahead and send that offer, my man. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense on a loaded team to go out there and just pay for one of the best assets, overpay for one of the best assets in football, if you want to call it that. Dill coming out. Appreciate you, my man. Says Spears, Foreman, JSN, Ferguson, who to flex. We're definitely going to go Deonta Foreman with no Roschon and no Khalil Herbert. Go Bill says Olave or Godwin. Don't like Olave's matchup. I understand. I'm still going to go with Olave, though. Now, Cam coming out saying 1-4, 18 PBR, made some moves to have Burrow, Bijan, Etienne, Diggs, Amon-Ra, Goddard, Hall, Higgins, Watson, Gibbs, JSN, McLaurin, Purdy. Are we going to do anything else here? I mean, 8-team league. We are highly incentivized to go out there and pay up for the elite level tight ends, where we are going to be able to just overload with running back, wide receiver depth. You're 1-4. So, I mean, ultimately, like, the depth here doesn't matter. So the long-term pieces don't matter. We need to win right now. So what I personally would look to do is I would go ahead and see if we could send, say, like T. Higgins, someone that I actually think is a potential buy low candidate with a ton of teams. But with this team in particular, is not really going to make a big difference for us. If we could send, say, like T. Higgins and Dallas Goedert to go get to Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson, Sam Laporta, I think it'd make a lot of sense when we need a win now. LOLG, happy to see us, says, Sup Mason, 5-0, 12-team full BBR. We have Saquon Gibbs, Bijan Lamb, Zay Pickens, T, Pittman, Mahomes, Goddard. Should I trade Bijan, Pittman, Pickens for Jefferson and JSN? Okay, so 5-0, we are thinking long-term. I probably still go ahead and keep Bijan here, my man. I understand the thought process of wanting to go and get Justin Jefferson on a 5-0 roster. You are just significantly overpaying if you send here. I mean, it's Bijan over Jefferson by a mile at this point. I mean, maybe that's a move we can make in 3 to 4 weeks. Not now, though. Now, Pack Fresh says 10-team full BBR double flex where we have Hurts, Bijan, Saquon, Keenan, Ridley, TJ, Addison, Brees. And then on the bench, we have Warren, Watson, Lawrence, DeMarcado, Deontay. What trades or changes do we need to make to improve the team? So in terms of changes to the starting lineup, I don't necessarily have anything. And in terms of trades, I mean, the only thing I would say is if you could go out there and see if we can attack that Anthony Richardson owner whenever we're sitting here with Jalen Hurts and go, hey man, I'll give you Trevor Lawrence and I'll give you Brees Hall. Give me the best running back you can, you know. I'll give you Trevor Lawrence and Brees Hall, and then somehow see if we can go up there and swindle ourselves into Austin Eckler. I would love to see if we can make a play like that. In reality, it's probably not possible, though. I mean, we can try it, though. We can try it. Misa says, start one with the flex. Hubbard, okay, we're definitely going to go with Chuba Hubbard here. Really tough matchup where they are going to be down, but if it's a full BBR format, he will have the receiving workload. Embry says, do we trade Pollard for JT and Ayuk? It's a double flex 12-team league. We have Allen, Pollard, Pierce, Hill, St. Brown, Hawkins. Lost a chance, so we have zero depth. I understand the thought process here, but I think that we're probably not getting a big enough discount on JT. I like the idea of buying JT at said discount. I think we would just want a slightly lower price here. Now, Marco's coming out. Always appreciate it. Just says 12-team at BBR, 2-3, pick 2, 2, and 1. Ramondre, Brian Robinson, Deonta Foreman. We're going to go Deonta Foreman, and then between Ramondre, Brian Robinson, probably Brian Robinson. And then Chase, Olave, Ayuk, Addison. We're going to be playing Chase, Olave, and Ayuk. Play both wide receivers and throw one in the flex. I want to know who y'all are benching out of this list of running backs, though. Maybe I'm too low on Ramondre Stevenson at this point. Maybe we've swung to the other end of the spectrum, but please, who are you benching between Ramondre, Brian Robinson, and Deonta Foreman? Spam the chat. Who are you benching between those three guys, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. And as we wait, we'll answer one more question real quick. Bidmoon says, flex PBR, Jonnu, Cam, Zeke, or Keontae. Gross. Probably will have to go Keontae Ingram, though. Okay. Ramondre, Foreman, Ramondre, Ramondre. So it does look like it's split between benching Deonta Foreman and Ramondre Stevenson. I'm very biased. I don't really have Ramondre Stevenson in many leagues. And at the same time, hook 'em orange. So I'm going to tell you to play Deonta Foreman, but you can go either way. And let me refresh this so we can keep on bringing up these questions. And as I do this, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And since it was our birthday this week, Underdog is hooking y'all up. If you're new to Underdog, you're going to be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em for tomorrow, more than less than half a total yard. And it doesn't matter if you're new to Underdog or been on Underdog for a while, everybody that has used promo code FLOCK is also going to be getting a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard on Monday night. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go ahead and let's pull this back up. This next question coming out from, I believe, D. Brito, longtime member of the flock, says, I'm 5-0, 2-2, 1-1. We have Mahomes, Keenan, London, Watson, Downs, CMC, Stevenson, Zeke, Hall, Dalvin, Jaleel, Kelsey. Any change free agent I'm considering. Jordan Mason, Miles Sanders, Charbonnet, Sutton, Jameson. Who would you drop and who would you pick up? This is the perfect example of a team that people would look at the surface and go, oh, okay, I don't think this is anything special. We don't really have any depth. We're not that excited about our wide receiver 2. We're not that excited about our running back 2. But you have CMC, you have Mahomes, you have Kelsey, and you have Keenan. You have 4 cornerstone elite level assets. So we can just go through and prioritize free agency and prioritize the waiver wire. So I think, yeah, let's just keep this team as is. I think you drop Ezekiel Elliott and go out there and pick up Miles Sanders. I think you drop, honestly, I would drop Josh Downs and go out there and pick up Jameson Williams. And trust me, I have a lot of Josh Downs in fantasy drafts. And then I would drop Dalvin and pick up Zach Charbonnet as well. Because if, say, you were having an injury to Breece Hall goes down for this season, can you start Dalvin Cook? No, you can't. I don't know if you would ever be able to start Dalvin. Whereas you have an injury to Kenneth Walker, then Zach Charbonnet turns into what could be a league winner. Now, Derek says 3-2, full BBR. Sorry, trying to make this a little bit better for y'all. Allen, CMC, Bijan. Oh, beautiful team. Cup, DJ, Kyron, Laporta, Connor, HN, Roshan injured, CJ Stroud, Christian Watson, Olave. Great team. I don't necessarily think too many trades stand out once we lose the running backs. We don't have the depth to really make a 2-for-1 deal. I think you're going to be much better going forward now that we have cut back in. The only thing that I would say is if we could send like Laporta and Stroud when we have Josh Allen and go get the TJ Hawkinson or Mark Andrews, I would do that. Connor says Chuba or Deonta Foreman this week, half PPR. Can y'all spam the chat? If it's a full PPR format, I'm probably going to go I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard based off the receiving workload. However, in a half PPR league, I think it's actually going to be a little bit tougher. Half PPR, you're going to go Deonta Foreman or Chuba Hubbard? Okay, we got 1 vote for Foreman. Chuba. Foreman. Chuba, Foreman. So it does look like it's split about 50-50. I don't know, my man. I feel like I'm very biased, and I just want to say hook 'em Lawrence. Let's go. The Fiji Panini says, yo, what's up, Mason? Happy Friday. Start TF Healthy or Josh Downs. I am happy to see it, my man. I'm not happy to see this question. It's a tough one. I want to avoid T. Higgins where we can. I think we would start him over Josh Downs if he does play, though. Now, Clutchbox says, should I send Breece Sutton for Mixon and Olave? I think I possibly would, because I think Olave is a significant upgrade over Sutton, and I think Mixon and Breece are about the same. I think Breece is a much, much better running back, but I think Mixon's in the much better offense. Cogent, always happy to see you. My man says, would you trade Pollard, Adams for Chase and Kamara? Adams to Chase, slight upgrade. Pollard to Kamara, slight downgrade. I think it's a very fair deal. I think it's up to you and your personal preference. Henry says, Herbert, Bijan, Ramondre, Montgomery, Mixon, AJ, Garrett Wilson, Laporta, Judy, KJ Osborne, Dobbs, JSN, Jalen Warren, 2 and 3, full BBR, double flex 10-team league. KJ Osborne, Romeo Dobbs for Jacoby Myers. I would go ahead and do this. I mean, I'm actually surprised that we're able to make this move. I mean, I actually had Romeo Doubs as a sell-high candidate a week ago, but that was before Christian Watson came back in the Thursday night game. That was before Romeo Doubs gave you like 1 reception for 10 receiving yards or something along those lines. I would assume that you wouldn't be able to get anything for him now, but I mean, hell, if you can, yeah, let's definitely do it. Okay. So now our next question coming out from, I believe, Alex says, any moves, 10-team PPR. We have Kirk, Burrow, JT, Connor, White, Pierce, Kupp, Olave, Ayuk, Thielen, Cooper, Waller. Do we start Adam Thielen or Brandon Ayuk this week? It's actually crazy I mean, y'all know I've gotten a lot of hate for saying to sell Brandon Ayuk as a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Saying that, oh, there are so many guys here, yada, yada, yada. If you look at Brandon Ayuk's pick him for this week on Underdog, it's 48.5 receiving yards. I actually really like the more than 48.5, but I mean, they have Brandon Ayuk at 48.5, whereas they have Adam Thielen at 59.5. So they have Thielen over Ayuk. I mean, in my rankings this week, I put Ayuk over Thielen. So honestly, I don't know. And then in terms of moves to make, I don't have much. If you wanted to trade one of these depth wide receivers and Kirk Cousins to see if we can get to like Justin Herbert, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Jacob says start Nico Collins or Mike Evans. Mike Evans coming off an injury. I'm probably going to go Nico Collins and then also to stick with these underdog pick'ems just to show y'all if y'all just start coming in. One of my favorite underdog pick'ems this week is actually going to be the Nico Collins to have a touchdown. I don't think that should be even odds, but you're getting a double X multiplier on your pick'em slip if you include that. So I actually really like that. And I'm actually going to go Nico Collins over Evans if we have no Woods and if we have no Tank Dell. Now Zoso coming out saying 10-team PPR. Trade Mixon and Ayuk for Waddle and JT. We have Moss, also Adams and Smith, Saquon and Brees. Happy late birthday. Thank you, my friend. Ayuk to Waddle, lateral move. Probably give me Waddle. Mixon to JT. Short term, give me Mixon. Long term, give me JT. Yeah, I would go ahead and make that move. Now, Devin says 18 PPR just traded Burrow, Mostert, and Amari for CMC. What are your thoughts? Oh, definitely give me CMC in an 18 league that's not even remotely close. Now, we got Jay coming out, says A Mason, 10-team, 3 wide receiver super flex. Looking to get Jalen Hurts for Justin Fields, Christian Watson. That would be an absolute no-brainer. And possibly Higgins to seal it. Would give me 0 wide receiver depth, but nothing waivers can't fix. In a 10-team league, 100%. Waivers can fix it. And you know what you're not going to get off waivers? Someone who looks like Jalen Hurts. Let's go ahead and let's get that ASAP, my friend. Now, Caleb says 18, 4-1. We have CMC, Walker, Kyron, JT or Madre, Jefferson, Keenan, DK, Deontay, Downs, Judy. Would you trade Jonathan Taylor for Ayuk? Nope. If you wanted to make a trade you don't need to make a trade for a receiver. We're starting Keenan and DK. You have Deontay coming back from the bye. It's an 18 league. You can make moves off the waiver wire. You're 4-1. We'll get Jefferson back eventually. This is like the exact opposite of a trade I would want in an 8-team league, where in an 8-team league, we just want to chase the highest ceiling possible. Trey says, pick 2, full BBR. Collins, Addison, Olave, Devonta Smith, DeAndre Hopkins. I like Addison's upside with no JJ, and Smith's matchup worries me. I understand the thought process here. I mean, I personally probably go Smith and Olave. Like, I have Smith and Olave ranked at 31, 32 in our flex rankings this week. I have Addison 1 tier below them. If you're very worried about the Smith matchup, let's go ahead and let's take Nico Collins and Olave. I think you can go back and forth. Now, Duran says Zaire T, I'm going to go Zay Flowers over T. Higgins. Burrow or Lamar. I'm going to go Lamar and a 4-point passing touchdown. We also have Andrews. Yeah, so I guess we're all in on Baltimore, my man. Now, Jose says, at BBR, KJ Osborne, T. Higgins, or Chuba Hubbard. It is essentially a non-PBR format with a slight point per carry. Okay. We're going to go Chuba Hubbard here relatively easily. In PBR, Kyle Pitts or Logan Thomas. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. Also, KJ Osborne or Chuba Hubbard. I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard. Okay. Ty says, asked you about trading A.J. Brown for a first and HN yesterday. Traded A.J. Daniel Jones for HN Love, a future first and second. Did I win? It's difficult, right? Because if you're rebuilding in Dynasty, I'm assuming it's a Superflex Dynasty League. Daniel Jones has the contract where he's pretty much guaranteed to be a starter next year, even if you don't think he should be. We can't say the same about Jordan Love. So I don't know, my friend. A very interesting trade. If you're rebuilding, obviously you can make a strong argument for it, especially if you think HN is worth a future first minimum. Then it's a no-brainer. Okay. Cameron says, start 2 running backs in a flex. Brees, James Cook, Puka, Ridley, and Ayuk. You only gave us 2 running backs, my friend. So we are going to go Brees and James Cook. Those are only options. And then between Puka, Ridley, and Ayuk, we will be going Puka. Trustlock says, should we trade Saquon and Brees for Jacobs and JT? Flock up. Appreciate you, my man. Brees to Jacobs. Give me Jacobs. It's close. Saquon to JT. Full BBR format. Maybe give me Saquon, but it's close. I think it's a very fair deal, and I do think it's up to you. You know I appreciate you, though. I wish I had an answer for you. I just think it's honestly up to you. Now, Syndicate coming out says, I have CMC, Eckler, JT. Should I try to trade JT and get Josh Allen? It's not a bad price point. I just don't understand, if y'all rostered Jonathan Taylor for the first 5 weeks this season to sell him right before he starts doing something, why did we spend 5 weeks rostering him? You know what I mean? Everything is breaking exactly how you'd want it to for Jonathan Taylor. They paid him $42 million and extended him. That's what you wanted to happen. It happened. And now we're trading him away because Zach Moss had a good game his first week back. So I really don't understand it. But it is a fair price if you want it. I just don't want people out here panicking on JT. Cameron says full BBR 2 and 3, but stacked roster and 6 out of 10 make the playoffs. Someone offered me Jefferson for A.J. Brown. You definitely want A.J. Brown. Definitely want A.J. Brown. It doesn't matter even if you're 4 and 1, I may still stay A.J. Brown. Now, Steven says start Brian Robinson or Deonta Foreman. I'm probably going to go Brian Robinson. I mean, we at least know he's going to get the workload and should be a close game. Spread's only 2.5. Dylan says Rashad White or Deonta Foreman in the flex. I'm going to go Rashad White. Deonta Foreman I'm excited about, but we have to remember also, it's not a good offense, and Fields will take rushing touchdowns. Mad Max says, is Deonta Foreman a guaranteed starter over Brees Hall? Should we drop punt for him? I'd probably drop Kareem Hunt for Deonta Foreman. I'd still go Brees Hall there. Now, Omar says got offered Andrews for Olave Achan or Andrews Swift for Montgomery Olave. Ooh. Casual 12-team league. We have Stafford, Bijan Walker, A.J. Brown, Addison, Watson, Jonnu, and Hunter Henry. Olave versus Andrews, up to you. I think you make an argument if you're worried about Olave, which I'm not really, to go Andrews. Adding Achan to him, I would not want to do. Downgrading from Montgomery to Swift, I probably would not want to do that either. I probably go ahead. I probably keep Chris Olave, but I'm also a big Olave fan. Ethan says, is Gabe Davis a play over Nico Collins with no Barkley? I would go Nico Collins over Gabe Davis, especially if you possibly have no Tank Dell, especially if you possibly have, no Robert Woods in this game. Now, Joel says 10 TBBR double flex. We have Lawrence, Kamara, Etienne, Waddle, Godwin, Kirk, Raheem, Goddard on the bench. Cousins, Hunt, Dalvin, Kmet, Judy, Osborne, Ingram. 1 and 4. Any advice? So play the quarterbacks based off matchups. We have the Mostert bump. We don't really have a ton of long-term value down there on the bench that we're holding on to. So I don't necessarily see much that I have in terms of trades. I'll just say if you have like an exciting player like Deonta Foreman off the waiver wire, I'm fine if you wanted to go through and cut Dalvin Cook. With the inefficiency Dalvin Cook's had this year and with how bad this offense is overall, like even if Breece Hall were to go down with an injury, I don't know if you want to go ahead and play Dalvin Cook, you know? So I don't see a trade that makes a lot of sense here, but I do think that you could possibly drop Dalvin and pick up someone off the waiver wire that you're a little more excited about. Now, Lucas says 10-team league, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Four and 1, we have Brian Robinson, Gibbs, some backups, Kupp, Waddle, Ayuk, Ridley. We are offered Montgomery, Nico Collins for Cooper Kupp. Any advice? So I'll say for sure, Cooper Kupp is the best player in the deal. 10-team league, typically that's what we are going for, but it is a very good price point. And whenever you're telling me that we have absolutely nothing at running back, I would not fault you if you wanted to make this deal. If Jahmyr Gibbs is our RB2 right now, and you're unable to go through and do much off the waiver wire, you may have no other option but to make this trade. Okay. Now, Jeffrey coming out saying 3 and 2, 10-team PPR format. We have Lamar, CMC, Bijan, Kupp, Lamb, Andrews, Jacobs. And then on the bench, Terry, Kirk, Judy, Watson, Najee. Traded Lamb, Terry, Kirk for Jefferson. I understand the thought process. I do not think you got a big enough discount, though. I like the idea of buying low on Justin Jefferson if you think that you have a long-term team that you're going to make the playoffs with. But at the same time, when you're buying low on Jefferson, you just got to remember as well, okay, I could always go out there and do this 2 weeks from now, possibly at the same price, while at the same time getting actual production in our starting lineup for the time being. So I think, honestly, this looks like a deal that you possibly panicked on Dallas. I've seen a lot of people panicking on Dallas. I understand they looked horrendous against San Fran, but at the same time, it was the best defense in the NFL. Now, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are about 20 likes away from hitting 400 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Now is the best time to get on Underdog Fantasy because you're going to get a 100% deposit match with promo code FLOCK, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, and since it was our birthday this week, Underdogs are getting everybody up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard going up against the Dallas Cowboys as well. So please make sure you take advantage of that while you can. And I'm super happy we're able to get all that for y'all. So I know I'm being annoying with it, but it's like legitimately a really, really good setup that I got you on. I want y'all to take advantage. Now, Jeffrey, I'm sorry, we just answered that. Now, Give More coming out says, my guy, appreciate you, my man. 10-team PPR 3 and 2. We have Hurts, CMC, Bijan, Etienne, Waddle, Puka, Thomas. And then on the bench, we have Jefferson, Fields, Madison, Watson, Osborne, Hubbard. Would you trade Fields and Etienne for Allen and Mixon? This is a very interesting deal. I would love to hear what people in the live chat have to say about this. I think from a value proposition, maybe it's intriguing. My issue is whenever we're making a deal that's like, okay, we're going to go through and we're going to make this trade. It doesn't really make sense for our team right now, but maybe we're getting a little more value and maybe we can turn that into something else. Typically, that's not something I want to go ahead and do. Like if it's an absolute no-brainer, right? Say you were selling like Justin Fields and maybe instead like Rashad White and getting back Josh Allen and Joe Mixon. I'd say, oh yeah, this is such a no-brainer. You have to do it and we have to go through and we have to turn around and see if we can get something else. But my issue is if we go down there, downgrade at running back to upgrade at quarterback when we already have Jalen Hurts, and then we go approach other teams and go, hey man, what will you give me for Josh Allen? And they see that you have Jalen Hurts on your team as is. you may not get the price point that you're wanting to make, and you may have a net loss at the end of the day. So I like the idea on paper, but unless we had a trade actually mapped out, I probably wouldn't pull the trigger right now. Now, Ryan says, have BBR double flex starting JT Jacobs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill. Do I flex Brian Robinson, Kirk, Godwin, London, Spears, Algier, Chuba Hubbard, or Deonta Foreman off the waiver wire? Ooh. So we do have Evans playing. That is going to move Godwin down a bit. Have BBR format. So we're flexing two of these guys. I think we will go ahead and we will flex both Brian Robinson and Christian Kirk now that we know that Mike Evans is for sure good to go. Joseph says, have BBR single flex league. I give Smith, Kincaid, Watson. I get Myers, Etienne, Kmet. Is this a good deal? Kincaid to Kmet, who cares? Probably Kmet. Christian Watson to Jacoby Myers. Christian Watson, but who cares? Devonta Smith to Etienne. Give me Etienne. Yeah, if you need a running back, I think it's a completely fine deal. Hoover says, start two at BBR, Ramondre, JT, Chuba Hubbard. I'm going to go JT and Chuba Hubbard, but actually, no, I can't go that far. Oh my gosh. I can't be talented. My thing with Ramondre Stevenson is he's a committee running back in a bad offense that's not particularly efficient. But it's not like Chuba Hubbard's a super efficient running back. It's not like he's a super talented guy. It's not like he's in a great offense. So can y'all spam the chat? Who are you going to start? Are you going to start Ramondre Stevenson or Chuba Hubbard? I'm definitely starting Jonathan Taylor. But Happy BR, are you going Ramondre Stevenson or Chuba Hubbard with no Miles Sanders? And as we wait, Louis says, just traded Derrick Henry, Pittman, Sutton, and Javonte for Breece and A.J. Brown. So Derrick Henry to A.J. Brown upgrade, Pittman to Breece, lateral move / upgrade. Sutton and Javonte have no value. Great move. Okay. So let's see what people are saying in the chat. We got Chuba, Stevenson, Chuba. It looks like most people are tired of Stevenson and just saying Chuba Hubbard at this point. Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead and take Chuba, my man. I mean, they are 14-point dogs against Miami, though. Could be a high-scoring game. Gavin says, happy Friday, my man. I'm 4-1, 12-team BBR. We have Amon-Ra, Ayuk, Smith, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, Nico Collins. I need to start forward. Thinking of going with Amon-Ra, Ayuk, DJ Davis. What are your thoughts? Thanks. Thank you so much, my man. I think based off the injuries to the other wide receivers that we have in Houston, even if he's a little bit more volatile of an option, I probably do play Nico Collins over Gabe Davis. I probably go St. Brown, Ayuk, DJ, and Nico Collins or Devonta Smith. I know Gabe Davis has been good, but I don't know if we still want to be playing him over Nico Collins or Smith with how they project to see a little more volume. A great team, though. Great team, my man. Connor says, I ended up trading Etienne, Addison, Judy for Adams and Brandon Cooks. It's a 12-team BBR. We have Eckler, Madison, Warren. For receiver, we have Amari and Higgins. Brandon Cooks is literally zero value at this point. I think you cut him. Jerry Judy, maybe you want to say the same. I mean, if he gets traded somewhere else, maybe he's a little bit better. Etienne and Addison for Devontae Adams. If it is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I think it's okay. I'm a big Etienne guy, though. So, I mean, it's understandable when we have Eckler. If it's a multi-flex league, I don't like it, though. Logan says, got drunk and traded Tua for Dell and Rachaad White? Or is that Shaheed? If it's Shaheed, my man, we're going to hold an intervention for you right now. And I'm going to tell you, probably got to cut it out, all right? Probably going a little bit too hard as of late. If it is Rachaad White and you needed a running back, probably didn't get enough value, but understandable. Jacob says, James Cook versus James Conner and DeAndre Hopkins. I'm 3-1. Conner, hard draw home. Well, Conner on the IR. I'm going to go James Cook, even if the usage is concerning, is going the other direction. Jonathan says, I'm 3-2. I traded Adam Thielen and Jaleel for Jonathan Taylor Great trade. Great trade. Yes, I mean, Jaleel, this is a running back that looked good this past week, but ultimately, like we said going into the game and like we said after the game, is in a 3-man running back by committee and one of the worst offenses in the NFL. You're not going to be a difference-making player in fantasy. At least typically, you're not going to be a difference-making player in fantasy if you're in a 3-man running back by committee and one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Okay, I'm going to have to reframe this and get this situated. So as I do, please make sure you go down there, drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog, promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, our rest of season fantasy football rankings, a Joe Burrow special pick'em more than less than half a total yard if you're new to Underdog. And it doesn't matter if you're new or old, as long as you use promo code FLOCK, since it was our birthday this week. Underdog's also hooking everybody up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you are taking advantage. Now let's move this over to So Dill says one more, drop Sky JSN or Spears for Zay Jones. No, we're not going to do that, my friend. SD coming out says Lamar, Bijan, Montgomery, Diggs, Puka, Ferguson. And then on the bench, we have Roshan, Foreman, JSN, Downs, Palmer. Should we trade Puka for Olave? I have been saying all season, Cup's going to come in. Cup's going to be the wide receiver 1. Sell Puka for Olave. And I've been wrong all season. So, I think you have a very strong team. I maybe would consider it, but I had Puka ranked higher in my rankings this week, right? So, in reality, you probably want to hold on to Puka. I've probably been an idiot, which is usual. Now, Get Flock says 12 team 2 receiver 1 flex 3 and 2. We have Mahomes, Bijan, Kamara, Lamb, Waddle, Ridley, Kelsey. Benches Rice, London, Deontay, Downs, Charbonnet, Miller, Hunt. Should we try to upgrade at wide receiver 1? I don't think so. I think you have a very strong team. It's very well balanced. We're rostering upside wide receivers and upside running backs down to the bench. Love the construction. Love the team. Don't panic. I know CeeDee Lamb was bad this past week. I know the Dallas Cowboys offense was bad this past week. Be much better going up against non-49ers defenses. LeBronosaurus Rex, always happy to see us, says, thanks for all the help. 5-0, 10-team PBR. We have Stafford, Mixon, Hall, Lamb, AJ, Kelsey, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then on the bench, we have Madison, Brian Robinson, HN, Judy, Thielen, Addison, Richardson. How do you like the updated team and any trade ideas? Beautiful. Typically, I'm not going to say this because typically, teams aren't this loaded. Usually when you have like Richardson and HN already that are long-term options, but not giving us anything right now, maybe we wouldn't go out there and look to add on someone like Justin Jefferson, who's in that same mold. Obviously, it comes down to the price point that we would pay, but if you can sell like Alexander Madison and Adam Thielen, or Alexander Madison and Jordan Addison, and go out there and get Jefferson just because you were so freaking loaded here, I think you could do it. Now, Dibster says 18 PBR 0-5. We need points today, my friend. Today, not later. We have HN, a few trade options I might do. HN for White or Ayuk. Also, HN and Bari for Olave. Any other trade suggestions? If White would go into your starting lineup, we got to do it. If you want to go into your starting lineup, but Olave would, whoever's going to go into your starting lineup this week, that's the move that we make. That's the trade that we do. 100% on an 0-5 roster. You have the right thought process. You have to make that move. You have to sell Devon Achane. We have to go to the other team that's 5-0, go to the team that's 4-1, that's looking for the long-term upside, send them Achane and get someone back that's going to actually make a difference. Owen says 12-team double flex 2 and 3. We have Herbert, Richardson, Brees, Rashad, Achane, Javonte, Cup, Waddle, Amari, Pittman, Jason, Kittle, Ferguson. White, Amari, Ferguson for Jefferson and Jacobs. 2 and 3, we need to think a little bit more short term, but Amari, Jefferson, still big upgrade. Rashad White, Jake Ferguson to Josh Jacobs, still a big upgrade. So yes, we go ahead and do that. Typically, I'm not telling teams that are 2 and 3 to go out there and trade for Justin Jefferson, but that is a very reasonable price tag to do so with. Saban says 12-team happy BR double flex. Trade Cook and Watson for David Montgomery. We have Lawrence, Pollard, White, Hunt, A.J. Brown, Olave. I think you go ahead and do this. I'm a little bit more hesitant because it's a 12-team double flex format. But yeah, I mean, James Cook to David Montgomery is such a massive upgrade at this point. Montgomery's winning you every single week until minimum Gibbs comes back. Now, Jonathan says 16-team league, full BBR. I traded Madison, Puka, Latavius for Bijan, McLaurin, and Zeke. How did we do? So Latavius, Zeke, who cares? Going from Madison to McLaurin, probably give me Madison. It's close. Going from Puka to Bijan, it's Bijan by a freaking mile. So phenomenal deal. You love to see it. Great trade, my friend. Frolicking effort coming out says 2 and 3, 10-team at BBR. We have Cousins, Dak, Lamb, Adams, Flowers, Palmer, Osborne, Brian Robinson, Hubbard, Sanders, Jeff Wilson Jr., Hawkinson, Jefferson, and Herbert on the IR. Would you trade Jefferson and Flowers for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Mixon? Yep, we're 2 and 3. We need points here, my man. And I mean, also going from Flowers to Mixon, I think you get an upgrade there in Mixon as well, especially if we look at our running back room. So yeah, I think that does make a lot of sense. And happy to see you out here still rocking with us, my man. If y'all don't know, Frolicking Effort's been out with us for years. Thank you, my man. Adrian says 8-team at BBR, Goddard, Achane, Higgins for Kelsey. 8-team league, it's Kelsey and it's not close. Shedman says 14-team at BBR format, Cousins, Richardson, Etienne, Bigsby, Henry, Spears, White, Allen, Olave, Kirk, Addison, Ingram. What upgrade should we target? We have Olave, Kirk, and White on the trade block. Honestly, I would hold on to Olave. I'd hold on to White. I mean, based off what I've seen in live streams, people aren't really going to give you much for these guys at this point. It's a very well-balanced team. We have quarterback production for now. We have quarterback long-term upside as well. So I hate to say it. I think this is a very well-constructed team. And I don't think we really have to make any moves here. I think we're in a good spot. Now, Cole says 2 and 3. We'll win this week. 1, 2, 3, 1. PBR, Mahomes, White, Chase, Pitts, Puka, Kittle, Brown in the flex. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Pierce, Jeff Wilson Jr., Ford, Palmer. Can I trade Puka and Watson for Justin Jefferson? If you are 100% guaranteed that you will win this week and go to 3 and 3, I am okay if you wanted to do it. I would opt, if you are not 110% sure that you're going to move to 3 and 3 and win this week, to wait and make this deal after this week and after we get the Puka production and we get 1 week closer to Justin Jefferson actually returning. So that really does matter for us here, my man. I mean, I don't know how you're already locked into winning this week, unless the other team's just stacked up every Denver Bronco. Now, rest of season full BBR, King Henry or Jalen Waddle. I probably honestly depend on your team. I mean, if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, maybe just Derrick Henry. If it's a 3 wide receiver, double flex, then definitely Waddle. Now, Mugundy says T. Chuba Downs for the second flex, full PPR. We're definitely going to go Chuba Hubbard. I'm not playing T. Higgins this week if I can avoid it. Now, Madsoga says 14-team traded Hopkins, Lennon, Pierce for Diggs. I like it. I will say it's much harder to do in a 14-team league where depth's a little bit harder to come by, but I think we still want to go ahead and make it. Jason says, what do you think of Laporta and Ridley for Kelsey and Myers? Oh, I think we definitely go ahead and we take Travis Kelsey there. I mean, going back to what we were saying, I have Sam Laporta ranked as my tight end for rest of season. But if that's his price point, he is a sell for me. Now, Forrest Renfro says 10-team BBR 3-2. We have Lamar, Swift, JT, Jefferson, Waddle, Olave, Puka, Laporta. And then on the bench, we have Ingram, Gibbs, Michael Thomas, Ford, Rice, Stroud, Jeff Wilson Jr. Do we hold on to Jefferson or do we sell? So, I mean, we're going to be sliding Michael Thomas into the starting lineup right now. You may end up having to sell Jefferson, especially if you can get to like A.J. Brown, then yeah, 100% do it. Now, I will say one other possibility. If you have Laporta and Lamar, these are guys we can start every single week regardless. So if you wanted to see if we could sell like Evan Ingram and Michael Thomas to go just get a better wide receiver in return, go get like Devonta Smith to plug that hole for the time being, could also look to go ahead and do that. Now, James says 12-team full BBR single flex. 1-4. We have Baker, Chase, Lamb, JT, Mixon, Ingram, Wilson, and then on the bench, Watson, Dell, Algier, Robinson, Jeff Wilson Jr. What moves do we make? We can't make any, my man. Like, what can we do? The only thing we can do is send up a prayer that JT turns into an RB1. If that happens, it's a fine team. I would love to go down there and take a bench piece and send him with Baker Mayfield to go get an upgraded quarterback. But in reality, what bench piece would anybody trade for on this team? Nobody's trading for Algier. Nobody's trading for Dell. Nobody's trading for Jeff Wilson Jr. Nobody's trading for Robinson. Nobody's trading for Watson. Yeah, I don't know, my man. Jose says PBR 3-2. We need a flex between KJ, Foreman, and Chuba Hubbard. Full PBR format, I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard. Non-PBR, it's going to be closer. The professor says 10-team full BBR 4-1. Traded Ridley, White, Moss for Jefferson. This is a very reasonable price point. Moss is nothing going forward in my mind on a 4-1 10-team league. White, Ridley, Jefferson, great price point. We have a great team looking at the squad, and we have plenty of depth as well. B says traded Walker Ayuk for a Hall and Amon-Ra. Walker to Hall, give me Walker. Ayuk to Amon-Ra, give me Amon-Ra. I think there's a bigger gap in receiver there, so I'd probably take the St. Brown side. Charlie says, Hook'em Lawrence, happy belated. Thank you, my man. 12-team BBR, 3 receivers, 1 flex. Traded Brees, Reynolds for Lamb. And then thoughts on Van Jefferson and Keaton Martin. Van Jefferson, I apologize. They'll literally be nothing. Do not worry about that. I just, in a league where you start 3 wide receivers, the gap that we have between CeeDee Lamb and Breece Hall, just massive here. Just massive. So yeah, good move. And then also Van Jefferson and Keaton Mitchell, do not worry about them. Now, Esquire says start James Cook or Christian Kirk this week. If you look at my flex rankings, I mean, it's not like it's the easiest thing in the world between these two guys. I mean, I had Kirk at 41. I had James Cook at 36. I probably go James Cook just because I think his offense scores more points. Trayvon says was offered Zay for Madison. My running backs are Eckler, Mostert, Kyron, Robinson. My receivers, I think you can go ahead and do this if you think Zay continues to expand his role, because obviously Akers is a factor here. Zachary says 3-2, 14-team dynasty. Should we sell Tank Dell for Hopkins? If Hopkins is going to move the needle for you this year, then yes, let's go ahead and do it, my friend. Obviously, long-term, you lose a bit, but short-term, if you're going to get that bump, go for it. Now, Nathan says 10-team full BBR 2-3. We have Purdy, Pollard, Swift, Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Kittle, Godwin. And then on the bench, Debo, Barkley, Moss, Stroud, Schultz, Osborne, Downs. Any trades or advice? Thank you. No, thank you, my friend. I mean, if we could, I'm assuming we can't. I would love to sell like Brandon Ayuk and Purdy, or or Christian Kirk and CJ Stroud, just to get to a quarterback that would be viable every single week. Not the worst situation. I think this is a very well-balanced team where you can sit still where you're at. I mean, if I was going to make a move, that's what I would do, though. But I mean, at the same time, you could just look to start the matchups between the two guys. So that is a nice pairing to have. Now, Tristan coming out. Thank you, Mason. Says, hey, Mason, thanks to you. I'm 4-1. My man, that is thanks to yourself. Congrats. Love to hear it. Full BBR single flex. I got offered Jefferson, Etienne, Godwin for Walker, Breece Hall, and Christian Watson. Breece Hall to Travis Etienne. Give me Travis Etienne. Christian Watson to Chris Godwin. Up to you. Kenneth Walker to Justin Jefferson. The team is, we have DeAndre Swift, Walker now at running back, Lamb in the flex, and then on the bench, we have Breece Hall, James Cook. So if we have this kind of running back depth, I would be fine making this play. What I would try to do as a counter before I'd accept this, though, is if he needs a quarterback, I would see if instead of us sending either Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall, see if we could replace one of those running backs with Justin Fields on a team where we have Lamar Jackson. I think that'd make a lot of sense if we could do that. But yeah, very, very strong team. And if you wanted to make the initial deal, I'd be fine with it. I would just try to get a little bit of a better price if we can. That'd be including selling our backup quarterback there. But let me go ahead and pull this up. And we are one like away from hitting 500 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I mean, we're going to stream every single day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, Underdog's going to hook you up with a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for this Sunday. And on top of that, since it was our birthday this week, Underdog's hooking everybody up that uses promo code FLOCK with a Justin Herbert special pick of more than less than half a total yard for Monday. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. But I believe we have these pulled up now. And this next one coming out from Kalen says, Tua, Tyreek, Adams, Etienne, Ford, Schultz, Puka, Osborne, Tucker, and then on the bench, Njoku, Odell, Warren, Elijah, Watson, Zay. Should we trade Puka for Pollard? Yes, I would. I would trade Puka for Pollard. And on top of that, my friend, I think that I'd possibly look to go through and drop Odell and see what we could get off waivers. Now, Juwan says, do I trade Kamara, Hollywood, Anthony Richardson for Amon-Ra, Ramadre, and Rashad? Kamara to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hollywood to Ramadre, up to you. Anthony Richardson to Rashad, up to you. I brought a fair deal. I think it really is up to your roster there, my man. Really up to your roster there. Okay. Now, Travis says, standard league, 1 flex, 2 running backs, 2 receivers. We have Lawrence, Kamara, Madison, HN, Jeff Wilson, Tyreek, Kupp, Ridley, Osborne, Zay. Do we need to make any moves? I got offered JT and Olave for Kupp and HN. Kupp to JT, downgrade. HN to Olave, upgrade. I don't think you need to make any moves on this team. I would say if you're maybe sitting in a spot where you're 1-4 and you need production in right now, go ahead and make the deal. Whereas if you're 4-1, you probably want to go through and you probably want to hold on to the long-term upside of HN there. Now, Pepe says Nico, Gabe, or Deontay at the flex. We're going to go Nico Collins, my friend. Juan says Swift and Myers trade for Pollard. I would go ahead and I would get Pollard. I understand that most people want it, but I think buying Pollard after a disastrous San Fran game is not the worst idea in the world. Lucky Leo says, hey, Mason, Tyquan Thornton or Ahmed at the flex. Probably going to go Ahmed. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. is unlikely to go. I know Juju's not playing, but still. Chris says, get offered Waddle and Gibbs for Ayuk and James Cook. Do I take it? Ayuk to Waddle. Give me Waddle. I think a lot of other people would rather have Ayuk. And then Gibbs to James Cook. You probably want... It's honestly up to you. It's a fair deal here. If you're like 4-1 and just want to think about long-term upside, I think you can go for James Cook. Duran says Zay, Deonta Foreman, T, Puka. Are we gonna package him for the next tier of wide receivers? If you wanted to package like Puka and Zay, nobody's trading for Deonta, nobody's trading for T right now. And you wanted to go out there and swing for the Cup, Diggs, Chase, Adams, Keenan, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, go for it. Prohibit, always happy to see us, says, are we selling Amari? Should we trade him for Achane, or do we think that's too high or too low? What's his price at the moment? Very hard to know his price because we got the report saying that Watson may miss multiple weeks, whereas last week we were told that Watson would be good to go after the bye. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Achane rest of season, or would you rather have Amari Cooper? Achane or Amari rest of season, ladies and gentlemen. Achane. Amari. It looks like most people are going Achane here. So... the thing is, like, you can try to sell him, but in reality, I just don't know if you're getting anything. Chris says, start 3, Evans, Ridley, Puka, Addison. Thanks, Mason. Appreciate you, my friend. Have to go Puka. Have to go Ridley. And the between Evans, Addison, we do have them pretty much neck and neck. I'd probably go Evans this week and then look to go Addison long term. Cornell says, would you trade E.T. and Amari for Diggs and Hurts? Oh, hell yes, we do this. My running backs are CMC, Mostert. Yes, go ahead and go get Jalen Hurts and Stephon Diggs, especially looking at wide receivers. Great video, by the way. Thank you. I don't know which one you're referring to, but they're all great. They're all great. At least I try to make them. But Thomas says, please rate the 10-team BBR league where we have Lamar, Amon-Ra, Olave, Godwin, Hollywood, JT, Kamara, Mostert, Andrews, and I start 2 between JT, Hollywood, Olave, and Godwin. Ooh, if you look at my rankings this week, I'm going to go Godwin over JT. I probably go Godwin and Olave. Now that Evan's good to go, you could pivot to Hollywood over Godwin if you really wanted to. I think it's a great team for the long term, especially as JT expands his role. And we have obviously Mostert dominating with no Achane. Great team. Michael says, full BBR, Pierce and Kirk for Mixon. We have Barkley and Kenneth Walker. I think we go Mixon. Jay Johnson says, Chuba or Brees. We're definitely going to go Brees. Zachary says 3-2, 14-team dynasty. Should I trade Tank Dell for Hopkins? We actually just answered this, my friend. If you're 3-2 and if you're in a 14-team dynasty format and you are ready to win right now and DeAndre Hopkins would move the needle for you, I'd be completely fine if you wanted to go out there and sacrifice the long-term upside for the production right now. I don't think Tank Dell is some like cornerstone asset you're building your team around. Phoenix says 3-2, 12-team full BBR. Single flex. 1 tight end. We have Allen, Kyron, Pacheco, Lamb, St. Brown, Debo, Watson, Andrews. And then on the bench, we have Achane, Roshan, Deonta, Keontae, Ahmed, Keaton Mitchell, DeAndre Hopkins. What are your thoughts? I like that we're prioritizing running backs with upside down there on the bench as long as we are going through and churning through these guys with waivers. We're going to get Deontay Johnson back. This is a 12-team league where we start 3 wide receivers where we do want to hold on to the depth, and we did just lose Achane. I think maybe if this was a team that did not lose Achane, then we could look to go through and make a trade. But honestly, as is, I really like the construction. I think we're sitting still. Now, AK coming out says 3-2, full BBR, single flex. We have Burrow, Montgomery, Connor, Tyreek, Ayuk, Lockett. And then on the bench, Stevenson. Any trade targets? Is Saquon Cup for Tyreek a good trade? Eight-team league, then yes. I mean, 12-team format, probably not getting enough. Especially as you lose Connor. Like, this team doesn't have enough depth to go out there. Actually, no, we have Tyreek. Okay, actually, yeah, that's the move that we probably look to make, as much as it pains me to say selling the best player. On a team that just lost James Conner, where now it looks like we're going to have to play Ramondre Stevenson and Tyler Lockett every week. If you wanted to make that trade for another viable piece, let's go get JT and Cup. Now, Dan says, Hubbard, Brian Robinson, or London at the flex. Fields or Lamar at quarterback. We're going to go with Brian Robinson and Lamar Jackson. 4 point per passing touchdown, full PPR. Yeah, let's go Brian Robinson and Lamar. Mo says, big a flex between Olave, Curtis Samuel, Brian Robinson, Lockett, and Deonta Foreman. I'm going to go with Chris Olave in a full PPR format. Non-PPR league, if you want to convince yourself to go to Foreman, sure. It says TJ for Jonathan Taylor and Pitts. I think you probably go Jonathan Taylor over TJ Hawkinson. Even if, I mean, I love TJ Hawkinson, but we're talking long-term here. Rye Guy says, need flex advice. We have Osborne, Wilson, Mercado, Pierce. Leaning towards Osborne given the passing volume. Completely understand that. I probably go with Garrett Wilson, just knowing that he's going to dominate targets in his offense. And at the same time, he's a better player and you have more big play potential. I would understand if you wanted to go Osborne, though. Blake says, start James Cook or Garrett Wilson at the flex. If you look at my rankings, we have these guys pretty damn close. I have James Cook 36, Garrett Wilson 39 in our flex rankings. I probably do go James Cook, where he's a 14-point favorite against the Giants here. Jonathan says 4-1 full BBR 12-team league. We have Allen, JT, Cook, Olave, Puka, Schultz, White, and then on the bench, Terry, Downs, Gus, Jaleel, Justice Hill, Justin Jefferson. Any suggestions? We lose Jefferson, so now at this point, our depth is absolutely shot. So, I mean, if we were to go through and try to do something, I don't really see exactly what would be possible here, my friend. I think we're probably going to be sitting on our hands and really just waiting until we get Justin Jefferson back, of course. We have to wait till we get Jefferson back. Now, Prohibit coming out says full BBR 10-team league. We have Allen, Bijan, Hall, Diggs, Puka, Hawkinson, DJ Moore. The bench is Gibbs, Warren, Flowers, Amari, Osborne. Do we trade Puka for Justin Jefferson? We are 4-1. If it is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, 10-team league where you're 4-1 and we have quality depth like Zay Flowers on the bench, yes, I'd be fine going through and trading Puka for Justin Jefferson. Be completely fine under that circumstance to make that move. Trey says, hey Mason, so I was able to trade Ayuk for Brees. Is this a good trade or no? It's a 10-team PBR league where we have Lamar, Saquon, DeMarcado, Lamb, Puka, Laporta, Collins. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Gibbs, Miles Sanders, Waller. We need a running back bat. Okay. I think it was a good move. Honestly, if we're looking at the team, it makes a lot of sense. And when it comes to Brees Hall, this is a running back that I definitely expect to take a step backwards compared to where he was last week. Obviously, last week he goes out there and he just absolutely dominates against the worst defense, the worst rush defense in the NFL as well. Do I think we're going to have the same level of dominance now? But no. But knowing how hard it is to get a running back, I think you probably want to go ahead and you probably want to make that swing. Zeke says 3-2, 10-team PBR. Just traded Montgomery for AJ Brown. Oh, hell yes. Good move. Was this a mistake? I think maybe you look at this as a mistake in the in the short term, but in the long term, no. We have Mixon, Brian Robinson at running back. On the bench, you're definitely going to need to go through and optimize for some more RBs. Start Trevor Lawrence over Joshua Dobbs as well. But yeah, start Lawrence over Joshua Dobbs. And if you're looking at Montgomery, while yes, he looks like he is going to be absolutely crushing for the time being, we still probably have Gibbs doing something later on in the year. So I think it makes sense. Now, Sam says 10-team PPR double flex, 1 and 4. We have Lawrence, Burrow, Lamb, Thielen, Ayuk, Pollard, JT, Moss, James Cook, Brian Robinson, Laporta, Jones, Watson, Dillon on bye. Who should we start? And was wondering if we should make any moves. So quarterback, we're going to go ahead. We are going to be starting Trevor Lawrence. We're going to go Joe Burrow. Wide receiver, we are going to be going with, I guess, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk. Running back, we are to be going with Pollard, Jonathan Taylor. Flex, we're going to go Adam Thielen, James Cook. If we could sell Laporta and go out of our way and possibly bring back in Mark Andrews or TJ Hawkinson, I would do that. And in a double flex format, once we get Jones and Watson back, we can afford to go out there and we can afford to sell like Brian Robinson and Adam Thielen to go get a wide receiver upgrade. Now, Meg says, sit one this week, Etienne, Kyron, Kamara, Montgomery. Absolutely hate to say it. I probably sit Alvin Kamara, though. Christopher says, Keontae or Antonio Gibson at RB2. We're going to go Keontae Ingram. Downs or London at wide receiver 3. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. We will go London over Downs. Owen says 14-team PPR single flex. 4 and 1. We have Lamar, Walker, Hall, Jaleel, Hunt, A.J. Brown, Ayuk, Watson, Reed, Mims, Michael Wilson, Ertz, and Njoku. We were offered JT, JSN, Warren for Kenneth Walker, Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's barely worth the rush spot in a 14-team format. Warren, JSN's a considerable upgrade. Walker to JT is a considerable downgrade. Accepted and risk JT, or do we ride out Walker? The other thing is Walker is already through his bye week, my friend. We're 4 and 1, so we can think about long-term upside here. So, I mean, obviously, JSN does possibly move the needle. Probably not doing anything. In general, and if we're looking out the JT trade, it all comes down to what do you think with Jonathan Taylor? I think that Taylor plays a lot this year. I think that Taylor expands his role. I think that Taylor eventually works himself to be similar to Kenneth Walker. So if we're getting these other upgrades, I go ahead and do it. But at the same time, I'm a little bit higher on Jonathan Taylor than others. Manuel says, wait until next week for the Smith and Montgomery for Austin Eckler deal. If it's a full BBR format, I would just go get Austin Eckler right now. I mean, maybe Montgomery with no Gibbs goes out there and crushes, but also you would risk on Monday night Austin Eckler. I mean, just looking phenomenal, and then that deal goes off the table. Let me refresh this so we can keep bringing these up. And as I do this, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over there on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, plus a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard on Monday. Underdog never gives out 2 special pick'ems the same week. Only reason they're doing it was our birthday this week. Super happy that I'm able to actually get you all that. So please make sure you take advantage. Now, next question coming out from, I believe, Nick, who says 1 and 4, 10 TPPR. Traded Kelsey, Brian Robinson for Brees and Ferguson. Team is Hurts, Myers, Higgins, Watson, JT, James Cook, Wilson, Judy, Evans, and Jaleel. Brian Robinson to Ferguson, downgrade. Travis Kelce to Breece Hall's downgrade. I'm sorry, my friend. I don't know. I would much prefer Travis Kelce here. I would much prefer keeping the core of Kelce and Hurts and then just rostering as many running back wide receivers as we could underneath. Juan says, I'm 3-2 in a 12-team BBR format. We have Allen, CMC, Adams, Allen, Ingram, Puka. They want Swift and Myers for their Pollard. Is it worth it? In a full BBR format, if it's a single flex league, I would rather have Tony Pollard. A lot of other people are panicking with a bad game against San Fran. I'm going to be willing to overlook it. I think a lot of other people would tell you no, but I would honestly say yes. Now, Black Jesus always happy to see us says, what's up, my man? Need a flex between Amari, Curtis, DeMercado. Worried about Amari with PJ Anderson or against San Fran? 100% I would be worried with you. If the weather's not horrendous, I still probably have to play Amari here. And if the weather is very bad, we just send up a prayer that DeMercado maybe is the running back in Arizona. My plan A would still be Amari Cooper, though, just because those other options are horrendous. AJ says, 10-team at BBR, we got Eckler for Kyron and Javonte. Javonte's in a 3-man running back by committee and one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Great deal. Burrows, CMC, Eckler, Ridley, Amonra, Nico, Walker. And then on the bench, Ramadre, KJ, Spears. Trade Ramadre for Hollywood. Nope. Understand the thought process, but instead we're going to trade Ramadre and Nico Collins and try to get up to a wide receiver that's in a higher tier. Selling Ramadre for Hollywood's not really going to do you anything. Package him with Nico would get that difference maker. Tom says was offered Eckler and Hawkinson for Pollard, Amonra, Waddle, and Goddard. It is an 8-team league where we would still have Jacobs, Cup, Amari, Hollywood, Dell, Watson. So Goddard to Hawkinson, clear upgrade. Pollard to Eckler, clear upgrade. We're paying both Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle. And an 8-team league, clearly we're just wanting the best player. Clearly we're just wanting to go out there and get Austin Eckler. However, you probably have to go ahead. You probably have to sit on your hands unless we can keep one of the wide receivers, because that is a serious price tag. Now, Thomas says, PBR, I'm playing Walker, Kyron, Amari, Foreman. What are your thoughts? I mean, I think Keontae Ingram may be the guy in Arizona. I don't know who it will be, so I would rather bench all Arizona Cardinals running backs this week, see what the workload looks like, then go make a play the week after. Zero says, 10-team BBR 4-1. We have Cousins, Bijan, Mostert, Keenan, DJ, Kelsey, Waddle. And then on the bench, DK, Sanders, Terry, Warren, Zach Moss, London, Chuba. Any trades or any advice? I mean, I think in general, it makes a lot of sense if we can go out there and approach that team that maybe lost Sanders, maybe lost Dobbins, maybe lost Chubb. I mean, we know there's so many teams that need a running back. Go, hey, man, I'll give you Chuba Hubbard and Kirk Cousins. Let me get Justin Herbert. I'll give you DJ Moore and Chuba Hubbard. Let me get CeeDee Lamb. You know, like, see if we can go through and take advantage of some of his short-term value and turn that in. I mean, we have Miles Sanders ourselves, so I apologize. But still, nonetheless, see if we can take advantage of a 2-for-1 type deal here. You can offer Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard with one of those players to see if we can get that upgrade. Because ultimately, we have a very strong starting lineup and a very strong bench, so we can afford to make a move like that. All things AJ says, did we win the deal? Full BBR. Mixon Pitts for Hawkinson. Lineup is now Tua, Etienne, Williams, Cup, Adams, JT, Hawkinson, Achane on the IR. I don't think we won the deal. I understand the deal, and I'm completely fine going out there and overpaying for TJ Hawkinson. Nate says, love the content, bro. Do we start Pierce, Taylor, or Chuba Hubbard? Really appreciate you, my friend. The smart calls, Chuba Hubbard. I think Taylor has higher ceiling. You probably have to go Chuba Hubbard if it's a full BBR format, but I would love to tell you Taylor. Now, David says, running back situation in a full BBR league. We have Lawrence, Bijan, JT, Chase, Keenan, Allen, DJ Moore, Kittle, Brent Meyer. And then on the bench, we have Dalvin, Addison, Jacobs, Thielen, Tank Dell, Barkley, Jeb Wilson. Any thoughts and then any moves with the lineup? If we were going to get someone in this starting lineup, it'd be Jordan Addison. I don't know if we start Addison over Keenan, DJ Moore, or Jamar Chase, though. If Barkley plays, you may end up playing Barkley over Jonathan Taylor. In reality, I don't think you have to make any moves right now. I think that these guys are actually going to continue to get better and their value is going to go up. I think selling your running backs, you would actually be losing out on long-term value. So then we're going to sit on our hands for now. Oscar says, what up, Flock? Happy late Sunday. Happy late Sunday, my man. I'm sorry, happy late birthday. Happy late Friday, I meant to say. Oh, God, I'm an idiot. Tinsy, Matt BBR, 4-1. Burrow, Diggs, Keenan, Amon-Ra, Ridley, DJ Moore. James Cook, Swift, Gibbs. Any trade ideas for a running back? If you could send like DJ Moore and James Cook to go get to like Tony Pollard, I think that would make a lot of sense, or just really any running back in that range. Because, I mean, here if it's a 10-team league where we have, I mean, Diggs, Keenan, Amon-Ra, Ridley. Like DJ Moore is the hot name. Let's go see what we can get for him. Kellen says traded away Pollard for JT and Pickens. Full BBR. We already have Lamb and Dak. I think we probably sold low on Pollard. We bought low on JT. I'm fine. I like buying low on Jonathan Taylor. I just don't like people panicking on this Dallas Cowboys offense because it will be better going forward. Brandon says DJ Moore or Adam Thielen in the flex. We will go DJ Moore, my friend. Saram, always happy to see us, says 2-3, 12-team BBR shallow format. We have Hurts, Hall, Javonte, Etienne, Gainwell, Hunt, Dalvin, Gibson, AJ Brown, Hopkins, Jason, Gabe, Jameson, Kelsey. Any thoughts? Should we target running backs or wide receiver? You know, I appreciate you. I think here, running back, we are really, really struggling. But the thing is, we don't have that much value to go through and make plays. As running back, we lose Achane. I mean, we hit on our RBs, right? We did exactly what you would want. We drafted the elite quarterback in Hurts, the elite tight end Kelsey, and then we found a running back out the waiver wire in Achane that was going to make it look like we were winning our league. We lost them, and now we are right back to the drawing board and right back to playing the waiver wire for running backs. I don't necessarily think that we go ahead and we do anything here when it comes to a trade. I really like the roster construction where we have the elite quarterback, the elite tight end bookending, and we're just rostering as many running backs as we possibly can. We just have to hit on these guys off the waiver wire. I mean, you have to win this league with your waiver wire moves here. Isaac says, would you play Waddle or Thielen in the flex spot in a full PBR league? I feel Waddle won't get a ton of work due to the game script. I'm going to go Waddle over Thielen. I'm doing it. Now, Cornell says, no, you read it wrong. Which trade offer should I go after? Amari Etienne for Diggs or Amari Etienne for Jalen Hurts? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, this makes a lot more sense. I mean, I think we would probably go Amari Etienne for Diggs here if we were going to go through and make that move. I mean, obviously, Diggs and Hurts would have been an absolute no-brainer. Now, Anthony says, should we trade Jefferson? We're 3-2. We have Moss, Pollard, Gibbs, Sanders, Pittman, London, Jacoby, Davis, and Jason. Okay, it's a 12-team league. We don't really have guys that we love here. I think you don't have to trade Justin Jefferson, but if you could get another round one wide receiver, if you could pivot off to A.J. Brown, which I've actually seen a lot of people do, then I think it would be an absolute no-brainer there. If you could do it at that price tag, then yes. Now, would I trade Jefferson for Ridley on this team? Probably not, right? But if you can get like an A.J. Brown player, then let's do it. Now, Tim says, Barkley, Montgomery, Brian Robinson, Jeff Wilson Jr., James Cook, Dermicado, Roschon, H.N. Hill, Kupp, Adams, Pittman, Herbert, Stafford, Kmet. Who should we try to trade for CMC? They need running backs and receivers. If you're trading for CMC, my man, I love the idea. You just have to understand, you got to pay a lot. You're not getting Christian McCaffrey at a discount, of course. So, I mean, if we were going to go through, if we were going to be trying to make a play, I think David Montgomery would have to be a center point of the deal, right? We'd probably have to be like, I would assume, David Montgomery and Cooper Kupp for Christian McCaffrey. And I don't even know if that gets you CMC. It's just like if CMC's on the trade block and they need depth. Let me know in the live chat, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Christian McCaffrey or David Montgomery and Cooper Kupp? Christian McCaffrey or David Montgomery and Cooper Kupp, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, CMC. Yeah, that's what I assume. See, like giving up two of our pretty much best players, not named Tyreek Hill. I mean, we got some people saying Kupp and Montgomery, so I don't know. Maybe you can get it done if you made it seem like you could get CMC. That would be like the price. Pew Pew coming out saying, should I trade? We're 4-1 double flex PPR with Diggs, Kupp, Puka, Watson. Got offered TJ for Puka. My tight ends Evan Ingram. Not if your tight ends Evan Ingram. I mean, Ingram is a fine option with the volume that he has been seeing as of late. Obviously, I'd love to go out there and trade for TJ Hockenson, especially with the fact that you have no Jefferson, so the volume's going to get a bump up. I don't think we have to there, though. Now, Tyler coming out saying 5-0, 10 TPPR, Jacobs, Montgomery, Hopkins, A.J. Brown, Walker, Spears, Amari, Zay. Trade Amari and Kenneth Walker for Adams and Brian Robinson. I think you have to go ahead. I think you probably do this with the Deshaun Watson injury. I mean, getting this kind of value for Amari does make a lot of sense. Being able to bring in the best player in Devontae Adams. So I'm out against the same team as the first question. Rate the traits. Kelsey and all for ETN and JT. Give me Kelsey and Hall. Kelsey and Javonte for Jacobs and Goddard. Give me Kelsey and Javonte. Kelsey for Pollard. Kelsey for Bijan. Javonte and Kelsey for ETN and Pacheco. The only trade that I do here, and I'd be happy to do it, I would be ecstatic to do it. I would trade Travis Kelsey for Bijan Robinson. I understand with the team I made. I just don't want to be selling Kelsey unless someone's overpaying, right? That's the caliber of player. We're not giving someone a discount on Travis Kelsey. I love ETN, but ETN doesn't hit the same tier. Now, Llama says, should we trade Kyron for London in a second? In Dynasty, if you're a rebuilder, sure. Obviously, if you're a contender, then probably no. But we're going to have to refresh this. Our next question is 44S MSU. So let me do this. And as I refresh, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard this Sunday. That's if you're new to Underdog. And it doesn't matter if you're new to Underdog or have been on Underdog for a while. Since it was our birthday this week, Underdog hooked everybody up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. On top of that, with promo code FLOCK. Super pumped that we were able to get y'all all of that. So please make sure you take advantage while you can. But let's move this over. And I believe our next question coming out from 44SMU says, 10-team PBR single flex. Traded Barkley and Amari for Andrews. The team is Tua, Bijan, Walker, Waddle, AJ, Andrews, Ridley. The bench is Flowers, Charbonnet, Osborne. You definitely overpaid for Andrews. I don't want to act like you didn't overpay. Now, I understand why we went out there and overpaid for Andrews when we feel comfortable at running back, where we feel comfortable at receiver, and obviously Barkley has a ton of red flags. Now, with that being said, I don't necessarily know if we can justify it that way, but I mean, I understand being worried about Barkley. Now, Julio says Ridley and Najee for Pollard. Oh, yeah, definitely go get Pollard. Jim Bin says PBR start Foreman or Brian Robinson and James Cook or Saquon. If Saquon plays, we'll go Saquon, and then I'm going to go Brian Robinson in a PBR format over Foreman. Thomas says flex DeMarcado, Foreman, Osborne, Spears. Thanks. So thank you. We're going to go Foreman and Osborne in a PPR. Now, the name I can never pronounce is, do we trade Bijan and Hopkins for Keenan, Rashad, and JSN? Hopkins to JSN, up to you. Most people would rather have Hopkins. Bijan versus Keenan Allen, Rashad White. Definitely give me Bijan. We have Lamar, Bijan, Henry, Diggs, DJ Moore. We need depth. Maybe if it's like a 14-team format, and sure, but ultimately, I think the best player here will be Bijan Robinson. Now, Kodak says start 2. We have Ayuk, Addison, Flowers, Godwin, and Moore. We're going to be going with Ayuk and DJ Moore. Now, Jamalai says trade Hill for Eckler, Pittman, or Etienne Olave. You either hold or trade him for Eckler, Pittman. You're not going Etienne Olave. That's too much of a downgrade. If you were going to do it, it would be Eckler, Pittman. Now, Raven says 10 TBBR 2 and 3. Ford Wilson for JT Myers. We have Zach Moss. We're definitely going to go JT Myers. I'll do it for JT straight up. Now, Long Sean coming out saying 12 team BBR single flex. We have Goff, Richardson, Kamara, Stevenson, Herbert, Jaleel, Chase, Godwin, Deontay Palmer, Reynolds, Pitts, and Njoku. Traded Kamara for Taylor and James Cook. What are your thoughts? So if you were looking at this team with the Herbert injury, with Jaleel no longer being viable, we needed running back depth. And yeah, I mean, going out there and going from Kamara to Taylor, you may rather have Taylor in the long term. I mean, I could see someone make an argument for Kamara. Obviously, you'd rather have Kamara this week. But then also picking up another startable player in James Cook. I think on a team that now needed running back depth makes a lot of sense. And great builds, especially great balance after we make that deal. Thank you so much, my friend. Now, Nick says, hey, Mace, we have Ferguson, Lamb, Ferguson, Lamb, and Brees for Kelsey. Sorry about that. So Lamb and Brees for Kelsey if we have Ferguson. If you wanted to go ahead, I'm so sorry for misreading, my man. If you wanted to trade Travis Kelsey for Lamb and Brees, or vice versa, I think it is a fair deal, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that it's an intriguing spot to go out there and buy Lamb if someone's panicking, but can y'all let us know in the live chat, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Travis Kelsey or CeeDee Lamb and Brees Hall? Travis Kelsey or CeeDee Lamb and Brees Hall? Please let me know in the live chat. Okay. 1 vote Kelsey, 2 vote Kelsey. Kelsey, Lamb, Brees, Kelsey. Looks like the majority of people are saying Kelsey here. We definitely have a decent amount of Brees and Hall mixed in. I will say that I do think that CeeDee Lamb is an intriguing buy low candidate with people panicking about the San Fran game. Now, Keaton says, I'm 4-1, 12-team PPR, where we have Fields, Swift, Connor, Herbert, Kupp, Waddle, Wilson, Hollywood, Dell, Andrews, Laporta. Do I trade Waddle, Swift, Laporta for CMC? Hell to the yes, my friend. I mean, especially if we have Mark Andrews. If we have Mark Andrews, not even starting Laporta anyway. And yeah, going and getting the best player in fantasy is an absolute no-brainer when we have a strong team like this. Low Rise coming out saying, play Osborne or Deonta Foreman at the second flex. I will go Deonta Foreman. Worry about the weather in Chicago. Also, my opponent played Kelsey and Pacheco. Might need some upside there. I mean, if you're worried about the weather, you'd be more inclined to go with the running back rather than the wide receiver, right? Be more inclined to go with Deonta Foreman than you would be KJ Osborne. Now, Brian says traded Hopkins and Nico for CeeDee Lamb. Hell yes. Perfect. That's the perfect example of going through and taking advantage of someone panicking on CeeDee Lamb here. But we're actually going to have to refresh this so we can keep bringing these up. Our next question coming out from C. Banger. C. Banger. Okay. Actually, I can maybe pull this up on the other one. Let me see. How far do we go back here? Yes, we can. Perfect. C. Banger says 12-team PPR tight end premium. We have Allen, Lamar, Pacheco, Metcalf, Puka, Godwin, Andrews. I don't really have the depth. Do we trade for depth? And which starter do we trade? So, I mean, yeah, we have Addison here as a startable player. We don't need to have a great QB3 if we have Allen and Lamar. Running back, we have Dylan and Algier as desperate plays if we needed to, but also guys that have upside if an injury were to occur in front of them. We already have Metcalf through his bye as well. So honestly, no. I mean, it's much, you're never going to pick up, or very rarely will you pick up a true stud from the waiver wire, right? Very rarely can you get a stud for free off waivers. Obviously, this year we've had Puka, we have Kyron Williams, maybe you'll have one or two more players. But we can always pick up depth. There's always depth pieces available off the waiver wire. So, no, I don't think we go ahead and make a trade for depth, my friend. Just play waivers and you're good for now. Caesar says 2 and 3, 10-team at BBR. We have Burrow, Olave, Ayuk, James Cook, Bijan, Kelsey, Lamb. And then on the bench, Gibbs, Judy, Josh Downs, Deontay Johnson, and James Conner. Any moves? I mean, I would like to go see if we could upgrade over James Cook, but the issue is when you look down on the bench, you're not getting any value for Deontay, not for Gibbs, not for Judy, not for... So we have a lot of these younger assets down there on the bottom end of the bench / injured players that maybe we can't get any trade value for right now, but still have long-term upside that we want to take advantage of. So I don't necessarily think that we have any moves right now, my friend. I think we just kind of want to be sitting here on our hands and hoping that these guys just continue to improve overall. Yeah, I think that's a team that's set up for the long term. Now, Phil says, Ridley, Kirk, Addison, choose to. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, my man. We are going to go ahead and we're going to play the combination of Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk. If you wanted to go Jordan Addison, you'd pivot off of Kirk and you would go Addison. But I'm playing Ridley no matter what. Watson says, traded Ayuk for Waddle. What are your thoughts? I would rather have Waddle over Ayuk. I know a lot of people feel differently, though. Now, Troy coming out says 10-team PBR 3 and 2. We have Amari, Pittman, Judy, Hollywood, Jefferson, Mixon, Brian Robinson, Pierce, Achane. Any trade ideas? Got offered Tyreek for Jefferson and Achane. I think that this is the move that we want to go ahead and make. I mean, I understand that, yes, we are selling a considerable amount of long-term upside, but with this team, you're not super pumped about this starting lineup right now. We're 3 and 2. We need points in the lineup today. Getting a player like Tyreek Hill does make a massive difference for us. Obviously, we lost out on a tremendous amount of value. It always sucks to sell low when our team was a lot better and had more value last week, but it's better to sell low and keep something, right? Sam says PBR team is Chase, Keenan, Pollard, Montgomery, Hawkinson, Olave, Addison in the flex. Watson. On the bench, we have Collins, James Cook, Roschon, Aaron Jones, Anthony Richardson. We got offered Stroud, Myers, and 40% of fab for Jordan Addison. I would be fine if you wanted to go ahead and make this play, but keep in mind, you are going to have to go through and you're going to have to drop someone as well. So if you have nobody else down there on the bottom end of your bench that we're not looking at, you're going to be essentially trading them Jordan Addison and Roschon Johnson if you have to drop Roschon. So typically what I look to do is I look to go ahead and see if we can trade up for a quarterback rather than trade for one of these guys that just came off the waiver wire. Because CJ Stroud still kind of falls in the bucket where you're probably just going to be playing, streaming, playing matchups, right? So typically, I'm not looking to trade for a quarterback like that. And if I'm trading for a quarterback, I'd rather pay a little bit more and I'd rather go out there and get someone that's matchup proof. 69 Savage says, is K-Makers viable or better than Madison? We have both. No, definitely Madison's still the guy. Akers is essentially just making it where you're not excited about either player in a committee. Margot says, who do we flex, Moss, Taylor, or Pierce? I am going Taylor over Moss. I have it in my mind as a 60-40 split between these two running backs. Now, of course, I'm an idiot. I thought it would be a 60-40 split last week, and we are clearly proven wrong. But I'm going to go Taylor over Moss. Sam says, pick 2, Olave, Nico, James Cook, Jordan Addison. I'm going to go Olave, Nico. If you wanted to go Addison over Nico in a full BBR format, would not fault you for it. William says, 10-team full BBR, need to sit 1. JT, Brian Robinson, or Garrett Wilson. I will be benching Brian Robinson. I completely understand playing Jonathan Taylor is a little bit more of a risky approach, my friend. And I know he did absolutely nothing for us last week, but I'm a sucker. I fell for it last week. And I'm going to fall for it again this week. I don't think they paid him $42 million to sit on the sidelines and look pretty. Phenom says 10-team happy BR. I'm 3-2. We have Jalen Hurts, Kelsey, Lamb, Puka, Terry, Brees, Pacheco, Kyron, Mostert, Roshan, Najee. Do we trade Brees or Mostert for A.J. Brown or sit put? I think we go ahead and make this move. I mean, my initial thought process was, okay, we are loaded at running back, so let's sell some of this running back depth and let's go out there and let's get a player that's going to make a difference right now. But I mean, yeah, if you wanted to just sell one of the top end running backs and get an elite level wide receiver, I think we can do that as well. Tony says, would you start Kirk or Hall in the flex? I will go Brees Hall even in a tough matchup. Danny says 2-3, 12-team BBR format. We traded Fields, Henry, Hawkinson, Higgins, Dobbs for Hurts, Kelsey, Metcalf. Did I win? Fields to Hurts, massive upgrade. Henry to Kelsey, massive upgrade. Dobbs, no value. Hawkinson to Metcalf. I mean, Higgins to Metcalf, upgrade. We paid Hawkinson to get it done. I think you won at the end of the day. I don't love selling TJ Hawkinson, but for what we got, I think it did make sense. Miles says PBR 5-0. Trade DK Myers, JSN Hawkinson for A.J. Brown, Waddle, Komet. Also 2-2 for Deonta Foreman. DK to A.J. Brown. Give me A.J. Brown. Myers to Waddle. Give me Waddle. JSN to Komet. Give me JSN. We're paying Hawkinson to get it done. Another similar deal to what we just looked at. If you wanted to go ahead and pull the trigger, I'm fine with it, especially on a 5-0 roster where Jefferson maybe will come back in the long term and maybe Hawkinson will take a slight step backwards. But yeah, that's tough, my friend. Like those deals look nice. I just don't want to be telling people to, I don't want to be the guy saying to sell TJ Hawkinson, you know? Low Rise says 12-team dynasty working on Lamb and a first for Chase. Which player from the list of the deal? Lamb +1. Olave, Ridley, Brian Robinson, Watson, Achane. I'll do it for Olave if we can get Olave. I definitely don't do it for Brian Robinson. I definitely don't do it for Christian Watson. I definitely don't do it for Ridley. Maybe Achane and Dynasty, but in reality, I think I'm only looking at like Lamb and Olave for that. Because Chase still is in his like own tier there with Jefferson and Dynasty. Williams says 10-team full BBR. Hurts, Chase, Ayuk, Wilson, Quentin Johnston, JSN, Deontay, Swift, JT, Brian Robinson, Stevenson, Stroud. Any moves? Only end of year total points matter. Interesting, my friend. Makes fantasy football probably a little bit less luck oriented, but at the same time, maybe a little bit less fun. If the only thing that matters at the end of the season is total points, I mean, I play in some underdog drafts that are like this, and you'd have to make some fundamental changes. Someone like JSN that I had as a buy low candidate this week is a player that I like in a regular league where you go through and you have the fantasy football playoffs where weeks 15, 16, 17 matter a whole lot more than weeks 4, 5, 6, you know? But if weeks 4, 5, 6 matter as much as those weeks at the very end of the year, rostering guys like JSN, Quentin Johnston, or Jonathan Taylor earlier on in the season, now it doesn't really make a difference. But you're just less excited about doing that overall. You're less excited about rostering those rookies that are continue to get better in that format rather than just going through and focusing on production right now. Because production right now matters as much as production in the playoffs there. So maybe I would look to pivot off of some of those rookies, depending on the value we could get. 69 Savage says, choose to Madison, Deonta Foreman, and Chuba Hubbard. Ooh. I kind of want to tell you Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard because I don't think they split their backfields. I think they get pretty much every touch. Now, of course, I'm an idiot and probably don't want to listen to me, but very close. Michael says trade Ridley, Godwin, Aaron Jones for Montgomery and Flowers. Godwin to Flowers, lateral move up to you. Ridley and Aaron Jones for Montgomery. I think long-term, you probably prefer Ridley, Aaron Jones. Short-term, you probably prefer Montgomery. If you need points now, let's go get Montgomery. Steven says, hurts to say Waddle, Thielen in the flex. We are going to go Waddle over Thielen, and yes, it does. It hurts to admit that is a valid question for sure. Leo says, 12-team PPR 3-2. We have Lawrence, Jacobs, Barkley, Lamb, Ridley, Waller. Offer JT and Smith for Saquon and Lamb. Could I do better? Saquon and JT, I mean, both players have massive red flags. I probably prefer Saquon in a full PPR format, but it's not too far off. Lamb versus Smith, I'd rather have Lamb. So I'd probably go Lamb and Saquon, even if obviously Saquon has massive red flags. I don't think Lamb really has too big of red flags, to be honest. I think a lot of people think he does, but in reality, I don't think that's the situation. Mitigated Frame says 10-team standard scoring, 3 receivers. I'm 2-3, traded Higgins and Amari for DJ Moore and Pierce. Did we win? Amari to DJ Moore with the Deshaun Watson injury. You'd rather have DJ Moore. Higgins to Dameon Pierce. I think in the short term, you'd rather have Dameon Pierce. In the long term, you'd possibly rather have T. Higgins. So I think it's a fair deal. I don't want to say we won. I don't want to say we lost. I think it depends on our team. Jesse says 2-3, 16-team PBR. Did Swift, Jefferson, Rice for Olave, Eckler. Jefferson, Eckler, massive dub. Rice doesn't matter. I mean, 16-team league, I guess he does a little bit. And then Swift versus Olave. Probably give me Swift. But yeah, I think Eckler is such a massive get there in a 16-team league, 2-3. Texas Sucks says, should I sell JT? What value should I get for him? Texas Sucks, you should sell Jonathan Taylor. And I'm sure as you saying Texas Sucks, you probably want an OU player in return. So I would recommend that you in particular, nobody else watching this live stream, only the guy named Texas Sucks. You should probably trade Jonathan Taylor for Samaje Perine, my friend. I think that would be a very, very good move for your team in particular, Texas Sucks. Hook 'em Lawrence. And all jokes aside, no, do not sell JT. Elite Henry coming out says 12-team happy BR format. 3-2. Quarterback is Stafford Watson. Receivers are Kupp, Pittman, Evans, Higgins. Running backs are Barkley, Gibbs, Deonta, Waller. We start 3 receivers in 1 flex. Very well-balanced format specifically. Very well-balanced team specifically for this format. I honestly don't think we do anything. I mean, obviously, if we can go back in a time machine and sell Darren Waller, we would. But we have Stafford for the short term to cover over Watson. We have Foreman for the short term to cover over Gibbs. And yeah, let's just continue to work the waiver wire as we have been to get us through these injuries. Now, Kinger coming out saying 5-0, full BBR. We have Tua traded Ridley and Kamara for Waddle JT. Was that a good move? And who do we do in the flex this week? Between JT, Waddle, Mixon, Kirk, and Addison. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. Flex, we will go Mixon. And then Ridley to Waddle. Up to you. Kamara to JT. Short term, give me Kamara. Long term, I prefer JT. So if this is like an 0-5 roster, I'd say probably a bad trade. 5-0, I think it does make sense for your team in particular. Now, Darth Raiders says, pick 2, Happy BR, Stevenson, Osborne, London, and Flowers. We're going to go Flowers, and as painful as it is to say, Stevenson. Even though I'd way rather tell you to bench Stevenson if we could. But I'm going to go ahead and see if we can answer some questions from YouTube members real quick. So if you're a YouTube member, please go through and drop any questions that you have in the live chat. I'd be super happy to answer them for you. And then also, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to Underdog, a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Monday night. The only reason you're getting hooked up with that is because it was our birthday this week. So please make sure you take advantage. Super happy that we were able to get you all that only with code FLOCK. But yeah, like I said, if you're a YouTube member, please don't feel like you have to donate. Just ask me any questions you have in the live chat. And Esteban says, 10-team PPR, should we accept Etienne and Nico Collins for Saquon? Yes, go get Etienne for Saquon. Sam says, not sure if you remember my Stroud trade question, but how would you go about trading for a top 3 to 5 quarterback? I'm being asked for Olave plus one more for people like Herbert, Tua. What are the top 5 quarterbacks worth? Specifically for your team where we had Anthony Richardson down, if you wanted to send like Anthony Richardson and Olave on a team that needed wins now and go get Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Lamar, I think that would make a lot of sense, my friend. And I typically would rather go about that. Or you could always go through and just stream the quarterback position and possibly pick up someone like Stafford, you know. Derek says, Kyron or Achane rest of season? We will go Kyron over Achane rest of season, my friend. James says, Godwin or JT this week? Full BBR. Full BBR format, my man. We are going to go Godwin, even though with Evans playing, it's a little bit closer. CJ says, 3-2, full BBR format. Sorry, 1 second. We have Kirk, Richardson, Hill, Kupp, Amari, T, Deontay, Jacobs, Montgomery, Aaron Jones, Laporta, Pitts. Any moves, maybe a better flex. We have the KC kicker and defense. I mean, flex is fine. I mean, obviously in the short term, you're in a very tough spot. Because we have Deshaun Watson injured for Amari. We have T injured. We have Deontay injured. We have Aaron Jones on a bye. We have Anthony Richardson injured. In reality, the starting lineup is fine right now. And for that reason, I probably don't think we need to go through and make any swings. I think we sit on our hands, my friend. I think we sit on our hands and let these guys get healthier. Sando says Derrick Henry and Zach Ertz for Debo and Kmet. I'm going to go Derrick Henry and Zach Ertz. Sean says 12-team PPR 4-1. We have Kupp, Allen, Sanders, Kyron, Olave, Goddard, Geno. Should we trade Michael Thomas, Hopkins, and Sanders for Etienne? Yes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this if it's a league where you start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex spot, my friend. Do Jazzy Jeff says 10-team half BBR. We have Hurts, Keenan, Puka, Debo, Addison, CMC, Jacobs, Achane, Javonte, Hopkins, Goddard, Jeff Wilson Jr. on the IR. Any moves or trades? Thanks. Hook 'em. Hook 'em, one man. And thank you so much for being a member of the vlog. And we're starting CMC, Jacobs, Keenan, Puka, Debo in the flex. We have so much depth here that if we could sell Hopkins and Goddard and go get Hawkinson or go get Andrews, it'd be a no-brainer. If they reject those deals, we could always offer Addison and Goddard for it as well. Try that. Cole, welcome to the vlog. Thank you, my friend. Please let me know if you have any questions in the live chat. Owen says just traded Lockett for Ramondre. What are your thoughts? I'm fine with Ramondre. Obviously, it's just Ramondre is a committee running back that's been inefficient this season in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Now, Ronnie says 5-0. Should we trade Jefferson for Kyron and Smith? 5-0, I maybe take Jefferson there. If it's a shallow league, like a 10-team league, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, probably keep the best player. Honey Badger says 12-team full BBR. Stroud, Jacobs, Kyron, Chase, Puka, Laporta, Evans, Watson, Gibbs, Madison, Spears, Gabe Davis, Downs, Deontay. Should we trade for Jefferson? We're 3-2. So we're starting Chase, Puka, Evans, and then in the starting lineup at running back, Jacobs, Kyron. No, my man, you don't have enough value. I mean, obviously, if we could sell like Alexander Madison and Gabe Davis and go get Jefferson there, then we would. But ultimately, I don't think this team has enough depth. And if we were like 5-0, then maybe it's a little bit different, but not 3-2. Cole says, not confident if you remember the Puka and Watson trade for Jefferson. He had Williams and Judy. I'm confident I'm winning this game. The problem is I've heard Jefferson might not come back. Yeah, so I mean, the thing with Jefferson is that has to be in your thought process here, where the Vikings aren't really playing for anything, right? So the Vikings aren't playing for anything. They have no incentive to go out there and bring back Justin Jefferson. But I mean, it is also a possibility at the same time that, I mean, he comes back after 4 weeks. So just have to know that you are taking on a lot of risk, but you also have a lot of upside. David says 12-team full BBR 1-4. Save our season. We have Stafford, St. Brown, Olave, London, CMC, Etienne, Kelsey, Palmer, Watson, Woods, Najee, Jay Williams, and Deontay. 1-4, you need to take your long-term value and convert it into short-term production right now. We don't really have any of that down there on the bench. So in reality, I think this is a team that's probably just going to be a little bit better as the season goes forward. I mean, if you could take someone like Deontay Johnson and send him with Matthew Stafford to go get a quarterback upgrade, we would. I would just imagine we're probably not going to be able to, right? Rob, welcome to being a member of the flock, my friend. Please let me know if you have any questions in the live chat. And if anybody here is a member, just let me know. You don't have to donate. Just please let me know in the live chat what your question is. Cole says Mace is the best 12-team BBR, 2-3 most points against. We have Ertz, Bijan, Jacobs, Smith, Ferguson, Gabe Davis, Godwin. And then on the bench, we have Spears, Rice, Boyd, Johnson, Musgrave, Kyler, and Achane. Any moves? I mean, obviously, tough spot where you have Achane on the IR, tough spot where you will have the most points against as well. But what you may end up having to do you may end up having to sell Achane and one of those flex guys and just get an upgrade right now. I mean, it's a good team. You could fight it out. You could possibly still be competitive by the time they get back. There's just no reason to try. Like, it sucks that we have the most points against, but it's the reality we're living in. If we can sell, say, Gabe Davis and Devon Achane and go get a wide receiver that we're super pumped about, let's do it. Now, Heisenberg coming out saying, Yo, Mason, 12-team BBR. I'm a little bit afraid to start Amari in the flex. Other options are Terry, Pierce, Osborne. Should we start one of them or risk Amari? Start someone else here. Start Dameon Pierce. Start KJ Osborne. Start Terry. Start literally anybody but Amari, my man. Weather may be bad for Amari. Quarterback play is going to be bad for Amari. And at the same time, you're going to have, a horrendous matchup for Amari. Cole, if we're looking at a wide receiver there, for say Achane and Gabe Davis, if we can go get St. Brown, if we can go get CeeDee Lamb, that would be an absolute no-brainer. Maybe if you wanted to go get Puka, let me pull up my rankings this week and just give you an idea. Any wide receiver that was ranked inside the top, or any player, let's put it that way, that was ranked in the first 3 tiers of our top 60 tiers video from today. Any of those players, someone in that range. Obviously start at the bottom, then work your way down with the offers. Havel the Rock coming out. Welcome to the vlog. Let me know if you have any questions in the chat, my friend. Jack says, Foreman or Mikado. We're going to go Foreman. The issue in Arizona is it may end up being Keontae Ingram. We just have no idea, my friend. It could literally be anybody. But I'm waiting in the chat. I don't see any more questions here, so may call the live stream here, ladies and gentlemen, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. Of course, If you have not done so already, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're going to stream every single day until 2024. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK. You're going to get a 100% deposit match to Underdog, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, plus a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, and since it was our birthday, Underdog has y'all hooked up as well with a Justin Herbert special pick'em for Monday night. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that as well. Super pumped we're able to get y'all all of that. But real quick, Damian, 2-3, 12 team. You want to make a move for the flex, or do we stay put? I mean, this team is very bad in the flex where we have Elijah Moore. I think that we stay put for now, play Zach Moss over Elijah Moore. And just, we have to be a savage on the waiver wire, my man. You have to be the #1 guy on waivers. Hovel the Rock says, trade my Hollywood for Kirk. Yes, we're going to do that. We're 3-2 with Hurts, Keenan, Hollywood, St. Brown, CMC, Walker, Hawkinson. Yeah, a strong team. Let's go ahead and let's get Christian Kirk in a better offense. Ian says, 10-team full BBR. We have Burrow, Cook, Brian Robinson, Lamb, Amari, Myers, Laporta, Reynolds, Spears, Warren, Johnston, Bigsby, Love, Connor, and Jefferson and I are 3-2. This may be a team where we have to throw Jefferson on the trade block and just see if we could get someone to go out there and give you like a ridiculous price tag of like, say, AJ Brown for him. I've seen that a lot in these streams. Or if you could go out there and sell him for someone like AJ Brown, that'd be nice, because we also kind of lose Amari as well, right, with the Watson injury. Traded JSN for Piggins, a whole Javonte. Javante's in a 3-man running back by committee in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. If you could sell something, you should. I mean, if you could get something, you should. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day. And really hope we get to see you out in the live stream tomorrow night.